Without further delay, my name is Mike Calalonian, the Dynamics Team Lead here at Opal Business Solutions. Let's begin our presentation and learn more about Microsoft Dynamics GP. What is Smartlist? Smartlist is an out-of-the-box feature in GP. It's an easy-to-use tool that allows your user to create ad hoc reports and queries without knowing more advanced reporting tools like SQL Server Reporting Services, GP Report Writer, or Power BI. Best of all, when you install GP, you get Smartlist in every module out of the box. These Smartlists have built-in drill-down features too, allowing you to drill back into source documents with just a couple clicks. Smartlist results can easily be exported to Excel and turned into a pivot table for quick analysis. Users can filter results, add columns, and even create new Smartlists or alternate versions of existing ones right from within GP. Now, let's take a look at how we can use Smartlist to set reminders. Let's pretend I'm a warehouse manager, and I want to make sure that my shipments are leaving the warehouse on time. There's an out-of-the-box GP Smartlist that we can use as a reminder. Every time I launch GP, the system will count the number of records in this Smartlist. If there are any records, I will get a reminder on my screen. So let me jump out of my PowerPoint slide deck. And now that I'm in GP, I'm going to launch Smartlist. And then once Smartlist is open, I'm going to navigate to my sales line item Smartlist. The one that I'm looking for is called Items Past Requested Ship Date. When I open this list, you can see that there are 50 records, over 50 records. I will export this to Excel and send it off to my staff for them to research. Next, I want to make sure that I can see when there are multiple records in this list and shipments need address. So I'm going to go back to GP and add a reminder. We do that by clicking on the Favorites button. I'm going to change the name to Overdue Shipments. And then I'm going to click the Add button. I have two options. I can add a favorite, or I can add a favorite and reminder. I'm going to click Add Favorite and Reminder. Next, I can choose when the system will remind me. As I mentioned earlier, I want it to remind me when there are more than one record in the list. So I'm just going to click the drop down and select is greater than 0. Now I'll click OK. Minimize Smartlist, and go back into GP. Right here on my home screen, you can see where my reminders are. I don't have a reminder for overdue shipments right now, but as soon as I refresh my screen, it'll pop up. And there it is. I have 486 overdue shipments. Next, let's add a column to the Smartlist I just made. My warehouse team has come back to me and said it would be helpful if they could see the city and state of each of these shipments. To do this, all I need to do is click the Columns button. This brings up a list of the existing columns in the list. I want to add the city and state, so I'm going to click the Add button. And the column that we need is called City from Sales Transaction and State from Sales Transaction. Here's the city, and I'm going to scroll down and find the state also. You can select multiple in this list by holding down the Control button. So both columns are selected. You can hit OK. Oops, I added one that I didn't mean to. So to get rid of columns, just put the cursor in this box here. A little indicator will show you that the column is selected. You can just click remove. I want to rename these columns too, so I can change the display name. I just want it to say city. I also want to change this to say state. I'm going to click OK. Now the smart list generates with two more columns, one called city and one called state. I can export this to Excel again and send it to the warehouse people. Lastly, if I want to run this list more than once, I'm going to click on favorites again, and I'm going to save my changes by just clicking on this modify button. Now the column has been added to the smart list and my reminder has been updated. Let's take a look at some of the options for filtering smart list. The smart list we are looking at now has a couple of different filters already. Let's also pretend I only want to see phones in my list. I can add another search definition to the criteria very easily. Just click the lookup button next to the blank search definition to bring up a list of available columns. I only want to see items with descriptions that contain the word phone. So I'm going to select descriptions, and I'm going to change my filter to contains, and I'm just going to type in phone. In addition to contains, I just want to point out that there are multiple other filters available. So you can use the between when you have dates, or greater than, less than, or equal to when you're dealing with numbers. You can also change the maximum number of records to return. By default, it's 1,000. And we can also change the search type to go from and to or. So right now it's set to match all. It's going to make sure each of these criteria matches before it puts the records in the list. When I click OK, my list will refresh, and we're only going to see items that contain the word phone. Let's look at Smartlist Designer next. Smartlist Designer was released a few years back and allows users to create your own smart lists from scratch. There are a couple of scenarios where this would be useful. When you need data from multiple tables that aren't linked in the out-of-the-box smart list, when you have a SQL view that you would like to replicate in Smartlist, or when you have more than 4 search criteria. In this example, let's create a smart list based on the sales serial lot table. To launch the Smartlist Designer, just click the New button, and I'm going to call this list sold lot numbers. So I'm going to type the name in here, and I'm going to expand the list of views because I want a view. So once this list refreshes, all we need to do is find the sales serial lot view and place a check mark next to it. Note that if we wanted data from multiple tables, we can do so by simply selecting them on the left and then defining relationships in the relationships section. Here's the table I want to add. Right now, I already have the overdue shipment smart list in here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove each of these columns. because I only want to see plot numbers. It's going to ask me if I want to join these two tables together. So I'm going to put a check mark next to the sales serial lot view. I have my list name. I have my series. This is going to show up under sales. And I'm just going to click OK. Here's my smart list. That brings our presentation to a conclusion. To summarize, we discussed the Smartlist feature today. We learned how to use Smartlist to set reminders, how to add columns and filters to existing Smartlist, and how to create new Smartlist using the Smartlist Designer. Please feel free to submit questions to the chat feature. I'll give everyone a minute to do that. I don't see any questions coming through, so let's wrap up. Remember to look for our monthly newsletter since the 4th week of the month, as well as our Microsoft email since the 1st week of the month, in order to keep updated on the latest tips and features. Thank you, and please remember to look for this video and others on the Opal YouTube channel.